Hi gang, welcome to the Ornery Latina ever. Today was very interesting of a day. I rarely get invited anywhere anymore, but I got an invite. Rick Scott was coming to the area and kind of like a town hall forum. And so anyway, we RSVP'd and went to see him, and actually it was like a very almost like having coffee. I mean, just a round table kind of thing, you know, and just maybe a group of 40 people showed up, and we're all sitting around in a circle and hanging out, and everybody's getting a chance to ask them questions. And I want to say that I think it's amazing that anybody could take on governor 2 terms, and then instead of like, you know, after it finishes, you know, just fading into the background and kind of kicking back and chillaxing, he decides to take on the state Senate seat, you know, against the guy, a big guy, or this
U.S. Senate.
U.S. Senate. Anyway, against a guy that has got a big reputation around here for being a career politician. Isn't it like 30 years or what? He's been in the business, in the game that long. So it's very interesting how politics is, because, you know, I always wondered, you know, why would anybody even stay in it for 30 years? And, you know, really think about it, and what have they done with that 30 years? You know, they just keep getting in because nobody thinks that anybody's going to come along better, or is it a money thing, or maybe the guy, you know, just holds the seat, but why? And I'm in real strong favor of term limits, because, you know, you had John Dingell. I used to call him Dingleberry, because he was the biggest knucklehead ever to live, you know, and he was in the Detroit Senate. And talking about what the liberals did, you know, Detroit, have you ever been there? I mean, it's just run into the ground, of course, you know. The biggest moron, leftist, you know, bigot is in that seat. Now, of course, he'll claim that the Republicans are bad, but all the areas where the Republicans are leading, they're wonderful districts. They do wonderful things for people. And really what gets me behind people, and I didn't even realize that, like, Rick Scott served in our military. Was it Air Force?
Navy.
Navy. Okay, he was a Navy guy like my dad. Okay. So he was in Navy. And how long, Bill? Do you know?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
I forgot
right?
the resume today.
Okay, it doesn't matter. He served, right? He served, and that's all that matters, right? But, you know, somebody asked him the loaded question, you know, who would he support for governor? Because we have a person who has been a long time politician, Adam Putnam, and then we have a new guy coming in, and he's just been in like the game not that long, but he's doing some great things, and he, like Donald Trump, great, and he's also a Navy veteran, like you know, Governor Rick Scott. So I like DeSantis. I'm not gonna like deny that. I think he's gonna be he would make a great governor. One of the things that kind of sways me against the other guy is I'm a real advocate for immigration reform. You know, people ask me, well, you're Hispanic, don't you care about Latinos? And I'm like, this is not a Latino issue. This is an American issue, you guys. Like, we can't just let everybody just flood the borders and come on in because of their race or their color or what their ethnicity is. It's like, what if like a million Japanese people or a million, you know, Vietnamese people or whatever, what if this whole masses of people just kind of flooded in here, and they said, you know, chanted, you know, yes we can, in their own native language, and then they demanded like everything be their way? Or would you like say, well, you know, if we say no to them, we're racist? No, it's the other way around. We have rules, and like, it's like, and say, how do you explain to your kids, you know, that in a classroom we have a rule, and the rule is you cannot talk while somebody else is talking. Like, say if the teacher is explaining directions, you have to raise your hand. But maybe some ethnic group, like culturally, you know, is used to interrupting. I don't know, maybe, you know, like maybe I can use my Puerto Rican culture. You know, I have ADHD, and there's just a lot of that weird stuff in our family. Maybe I can't control my impulses. And what if I like rudely interrupt, which I normally do anyway? And what if I got a whole classroom of kids, because of their certain racial heritage, decided that it was okay for them all to interrupt and rudely interrupt the class, but we're going to make the exception just for this one group, because you know what? They're special. But everybody else that questions it is all going to be racist. So, I mean, what is this teaching our kids? Well, if you have any kind of moral compass, you're going to do the right thing. And sometimes that takes, you know, pissing some people off. And sometimes there's going to be name calling. And I'll tell you, the biggest hate group I've ever seen in my life was comedians that like condemn Roseanne for doing something wrong. And it was just a tweet. Somebody goes on live air, and calls the first daughter the C word, you know, and I can't even say the C word. I mean, I can maybe spell it out. And maybe I can explain it like I maybe call Hillary that word sometimes, you know, like because like she sometimes deserves that. But no, not really. Nobody deserves that word. It's a horrible word. And so but maybe Hillary, if anybody deserved that word. C for Clinton. Anyway, Hillary Clinton. Anyway, but long story short, I have a really hard time with the double standard, you know, the hypocrisy and everything. And I feel like, you know, yeah, we all come from somewhere. Our family, like, you know, came from somewhere, you know, because America is this great place to come to. But it doesn't give any one of us any more, like, you know, rights than other ones, you know. Like, if we were to do that, then we wouldn't have a constitution, we wouldn't have rules, or nothing would even matter. So I really feel like it's important we get people that understand what we're protecting. We're protecting our rights, our constitutions, our freedoms, and all those wonderful things that go along with it. And you can't be like a Mitt Romney flip-flopping kind of, you know, geek that, you know, thinks that you're going to blow whichever the John McCain wind goes. You know, I'm not going to be name dropping here, guys, but, you know, I mean, there's this one guy that is kind of like that, and he's a career politician, you know, and he didn't support E-Verify. He didn't support the borders being, you know, he wanted to open borders, and, you know, he was one of those agricultural people that just, you know, was all for himself, you know, not for us. And you know what, if you're talking about people wanting to be hardworking, I worked on a farm. I picked fruit, and I worked right along with the legal alien team per se. And I feel like, you know, there's nothing wrong with our kids if they want a summer job to go out in those fields and pick. You know, I mean, seriously. You know, if we're worried about fruit pickers and stuff like that, maybe some of these kids can get off their Nintendo and go out there and pick some apples and pay them to do it. And with that said, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to let you know that I support Rick Scott because he's going to keep Florida working, and really he is the only choice. And you know, as a conservative, and I won't even say Latina, you know, just because my mom was Puerto Rican and I'm half that, you know, I was born here in the United States, a conservative American who comes from ethnic origins, but we all do, right? We all do. But the fact is that I don't expect to be treated special because of my heritage. And it seems to me that we just make too much of an agenda over the color of people's skin, and that's not okay. With that said, you guys have a blessed evening. Goodbye.